Hi, this is Alan from Folks Like Them. We're continuing our interviews with Rod Lewis, who's the owner of the 515, Nashville, Tennessee, and Chip Hardy, the producer and also the studio manager at this point. Welcome back, guys. We're going to talk about, in this section, we're going to talk about pre-production meeting. We've already had the writer or artist send in a work tape. First of all, first question is, what is a pre-production meeting? Because a lot of people don't even know what that term means. Chip, maybe you hit that.
Okay. The pre-pro meeting is what we call an expectation meeting. It is what you can expect from us and what we expect from you for your music. It's the pre-pro meeting where we talk about what instrumentation you want, what genre your song is, if it's pop, if it's contemporary country, if it's old school country, if it's R&B, so that we can make recommendations to you about what kind of instrumentation that needs to be in the song. And what we can do to make your song into what it is you want it to be.
Okay. Rod?
Well, that pretty much nails it. That's pretty much what it is. I mean, I can't add much. It's just all that, like Chip said, what you expect from us and what we expect from you, you know? So, and any suggestions that we may have, and sometimes some songwriters will play us an example, maybe.
Mm-hmm. That was one of my questions. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, you know, I'll wait for that question then.
No, you can go ahead and talk about it. The question was, will an example help? Or
in some cases, yeah. You know, I mean, if you really want, for example, you and Chris did a song where you wanted kind of a reggae,
right,
thing to it, and without that example, I don't think we would have got the result that we did, which I thought was really good. Hopefully you did too. But
yes, it was great.
Right.
But our direction on that song was, the song was a straight demo, but we had an example of a reggae feel, so that you guys could play it for the band and give them an idea of what we were after.
And I think that's the most critical thing, because your work tape didn't sound reggae.
Right.
So when, Chip told me, well, they want it to sound reggae, and I first heard the work tape, my head was spinning, because I until I heard the example.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, well, we could make this work, So in some instances, yeah, I think that's very, but I think primarily for production, just the final result,
In the last segment, Chip, you talked about writing that initial chart. So when I log on for a pre-production meeting, what's the next thing that happens then?
Well, we first of all will discuss what it is you want from the call, or what it is you want from the final product. If you haven't already told us that in an email or in a phone call. And that's when we will talk about the instrumentation and what instruments should play what. And then we will talk about the arrangement. Maybe your guitar vocal intro just has 2 measures of a 1 chord. If the song is in C, maybe it's just 2 measures of C. And Rod or me may have heard something in the song later on, and that we thought, man, that would work great as an introduction. And so we'll make that suggestion. And of course, it's up to the writer or the artist, whatever it is that we're doing here. It's up to that person to decide if they want that or if they don't want it. If they don't want it, well, then we'll just go with what they sent us and do the best that we can. But we also in that arrangement, somebody may have a 16-bar solo, and their work demo may be 4 minutes long. And knowing that commercially that's not a good idea, we will probably suggest cutting that solo section down to 4 bars or maybe 8 bars, so that we're cutting out 20 or 30 seconds, hopefully, of that, so that it will shorten it to be 3:30 or 3:25, more in that radio genre.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's all that, and I can't, collaboration. I mean, Chip and I, a lot of times I'm hearing a song for the first time, and sometimes I think a lot of writers don't know how good they are, because there'll be a hook, like Chip saying somewhere in the song, and it's like, well, there's your intro, there's your turnaround, and there's your outro, so we can bookend it, and just, I think it's always good to have that, because again, some writers get really stuck on this is the way it has to be, and that's fine too. If it has to be that way, it does. But
well, it's kind of good, in this situation, since I've worked with you guys for so long, and I have also pitched hundreds of songs to publishers. The feedback that I get is really representative of what you're talking about, as far as Chip said about length of song, cutting that solo down. I've been in sessions as a writer pitching to a publisher. We get like a couple of bars into the solo. If the vocals don't come back in soon, they will stop it. They don't want to hear anymore.
Yeah. And a lot of that too depends on what you're recording the song for.
Exactly.
Right.
If you're recording to pitch to publishers or to the industry, that's a little bit different than maybe if you're going to release it yourself as an artist and you were going to be the singer too, maybe.
If an artist wants a 16-bar solo,
right.
Let them, it's not that we're afraid of the 16-bar solo. It's just like Chip's saying, commercially and for pitching, it's probably not in your best interest.
Well, these producers, these A&R people, record label people, they know that the musicians can play.
Right.
They don't have to hear a guitar player burn a 16-bar solo to be impressed with your song. In fact, the only thing that they're going to be impressed about is the song itself. If the song is strong enough for them to want to play it to an artist or to want to play it to a producer. So again, though, like Rod was saying, if it's an artist thing and that artist thinks that that's an important part of that song, is to have a 16-bar solo of some sort, then we need to, and we will record it that way.
Sure. The thing that has helped me through all these years, and I can't really get this across enough to writers, since that's my primary job, is allowing everybody involved to express their opinions and to really listen to them and the reason why they're saying that. Like Chip, when you were talking about cutting the song down to like 3 minutes to 3:30, and that is really a huge help for the writer. It's hard to let go of some of those things that you put your heart and soul into. However, if you just relax a little bit, at this point, when I get songs back from you guys, I rarely even remember what the demo sounded like. Which is a good thing. It's like I'm so like loving what you did. You took that little thing that I thought was nothing sometimes and made it the intro, or this little break in the middle where you restate it again, or maybe the outro also, and pulled that song together in a way that I wasn't really thinking of,
Right.
Which is the advantage of working with professionals, really, and having a band that's that great.
And that's why I say some people don't realize how good their song actually is, because somebody hearing it for the first time. I mean, Chip and I obviously you're going to hear things different from the person that wrote it. And so, lot of times there's a lot of ear candy that they've written that they don't take advantage of, and that's, you know,
That's so true.
melody is king, and you know, people want to hear that. So you know, the importance of having somebody like Chip working with you. I mean, you know,
and that, you know, that can be something as simple as just going from a C to an F to a G to an F to a G.
Right.
Something that simple that's in your music, that when you take that and you feature that as an intro or a turnaround, an outro, that the musicians will take that and they will hear what you are doing with your melody, and they will make a beautiful, nice little signature musical hook that goes around those chords, and make it interesting for whoever's listening to it, whether you're doing it as an artist or whether you're doing it as a songwriter to pitch it.
And that's made your good song great.
Yeah.
Things like that, you know.
We'll talk about that a little bit more when we get to the session section. When we talk about that, I'd like to end up this session with talking about the writer, or the writer primarily choosing their singer, and what that entails. You know, should it be male or female? What impact it has on the key of the song. Just maybe you guys could speak to that a little bit. What choosing the singer? It's really important that they choose the right singer for the song. So
that's critical.
Mhm.
And we have a bunch of our singers on our website, and probably that should be after somebody writes their song. If they're going to have a professional singer sing it, that's probably the next thing that they should do, is go through and listen to those singers and pick one and say, I think this person would sound great on this song. And, you know, Rod and I will give them our feedback on that too. Well, you know, he would be good on it, but for this particular kind of song and the direction you're wanting it to go, it might be better to have this guy do it. And then that person can go back and listen to that singer. But it is critical that in that pre-production meeting that we know who the singer is, because that song, that work demo, and it's also critical that you send a lyric, because that work demo and that lyric need to go to whoever that singer is going to be, so they can listen to it, live with it, and decide what key we need to record it in. You may your work demo in C, and you're a male singer, and you want a female version of the song. Well, Brittany Black or Marcia Ramirez, they'll hear that male demo and they'll say, I want to do this in F.
Right.
So if we cut that song, that track in C, and then expect Brittany or Marcia to sing it there, they won't be able to do it. We've got to know that key, and we've got to be able to get it to them early enough before the session that they can get back to us, so that we know what key we want the band to record that song.
right, Ron, what Chip said.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think most people come in knowing in advance if they want male or female, but if you are going to use a professional singer, please go to the website, pick one as early as you can. You know,
I have done that. And again, it's listening to you guys that has really helped me make that decision sometimes, where I might be on the fence about, say, two male singers, like the reggae song you talked about earlier, that we did. I had two people in mind for that, and I would just say, well, Chip, what do you think? Should it be Adam? Should it be Jeff? Who do you think would leans more toward this style because we had never done a song in that style before.
Right. Yeah.
And then Chip comes back and gives me a suggestion, and I would say that you should probably take that suggestion as a writer.
I would, and I do. I mean, I'm still write and record, and
Right.
Chip is, been very helpful to me, so I would do that.
One last thing, if the writer or sometimes an artist who still wants, who needs something like a lot of, a singer that is really great at background vocals.
Yeah.
That should, is that something they should bring up also, Chip?
Yeah, very, very definitely. Particularly if it's an artist, if it's somebody that we're cutting a track that they're going to sing the lead vocal to, we need to know if they want a male or a female background vocal on it, and so that we can start going through our vocalists and figure out the best vocalist that we think would work for their artistry.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a songwriter presentation that we're recording, then whoever the singer is that's been selected will do their own background vocals for it, and unless they want, if it's a male vocal, they want a female background vocal or whatever. And of course, we have to pay that singer to come in, so there is an extra charge for that.
Right.
But yeah, that's important that we know that.
Okay. But all the singers, I'm sorry.
No, the extent of the backgrounds and whether or not they want, a male or background or female background.
But all our singers are really good harmony singers too.
Mm-hmm.
All the professional singers do their own harmonies on the typical, recording.
On a regular, we'll talk about that when we talk about working with the singers and later on. I would want to wrap this section up and let you guys have anything else to say about the pre-production meeting.
Not really.
I don't think so.
I will add one thing to this, and I've probably done 250 plus pre-production meetings with you guys, and
really,
I mean that sounds like a lot, but that's over a 10-year period plus, and
I'm sure it's been that many. I'm sure it has.
But it's been, I have to say, in the beginning it was a little bit strange because I hadn't been through a lot of production meetings, but it is the part that I look forward to the most, because it is the part where all of a sudden that song I wrote, having let it out and gotten ideas from you guys, all of a sudden it comes in my head and your guys too with my extra input. It's become that thing that's about ready to be turned into a really great recording, and it's exciting. To me, it's exciting.
Yeah.
But some people, I think it is intimidating.
Yes.
I mean, it's always hard, I think, for a lot of people to play their original songs.
Right.
Somebody put apart, and they're going to do that. That's not what we're trying to do. We're we're not here to criticize it. We're just here to try and make it the best.
Right. I love that part. I've come to really love that part where all of a sudden you can see your song step up a few notches right there, and
hopefully,
and you guys always, then all three of us kind of get excited about the music. All of a sudden we're excited about the song. Once these problems have been worked out.
And because you've been doing it, you can start hearing what the band is going to do, and that's kind of what does get you excited. You're kind of like, wow, I can't wait to get this
right.
track.
So pre-production is really can be fun, and it's obviously very important for the next step.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Which the next step we'll talk about, the next step will be the recording session on the next one. So anything else, guys, you want to add, or are we good?
I think covered it.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Been great.